Welcome back to Everlasting Summer. We are on part 46, I think, and I had a little bit of a glitch happen. This is marked as epilogue, so I feel like we're close to the end? I don't know. Usually the epilogue is the end. Start with a prologue, story, and epilogue. But the save file is corrupt, which is interesting, so I just spent the last 10 minutes skipping through everything and doing the exact same choices to get to where we are here. So without further ado, night was falling. I was sitting at the square and watching the sunset. Also, thanks to everyone who commented and helped me figure things out, like Semyon's route apparently is to do nothing with any girls, so don't get any of the girls' routes, good or bad. Well, I might stream that. If I do, I'll make a little video, let people know ahead of time, so yeah. I'll probably end up streaming that, because it might take a few tries to get Semyon's ending, or it might not. We'll find, whatever. Masha was sleeping in Olga's cabin. It all shocked her more than us. Who's us? It was just you and Masha. For many reasons. There are two main questions in mind. First, what is happening here? And second, who murdered Slavia? Don't you mean Sasha? Isn't that her name? Or Sasha? Anyway, who's the murderer? The first one could be postponed for the time being, but I still had no clue how to deal with the second one. Despite all the confusion, the conclusion of her being savaged by wild beasts seemed to be the most reasonable explanation. I don't care if there's any wolves here or not. It could even be a bear, or a badger, honey badger probably, but certainly not a human. No one would be able to do something like that without additional tools. Like you're thinking, Semyon. And well, I mean, it is logical thinking, so. And the type of wounds made it clear that the unfortunate victim had been dismembered with bare hands or paws. Though it's true enough that an enraged human can gain nearly superhuman strength. But of all the people gathered here, who would be able to do something like that? Router? Lena? Maybe Olga herself. I don't think Lena could do that. No, that's stupid. But even so, there were many children apart from them in the canteen and at the square. But am I really going to interrogate every single one of them? That's a job for the police. And what's there to be afraid of? Maybe I'm not afraid for myself, but for Masha. Right, I need to check how she's doing. She was just there. I was just about to get up when suddenly I sensed someone's presence. Oh, it's Lena. I looked back and saw Lena. I'm just like, oh shit, it's going down now. Oh, it's just Lena. Oh, I didn't want to scare you. It's okay. Can I sit here? Yeah, sit down, please. She fixed her skirt with a neat move, sat down, and started staring at the sunset. How sad is all this? I didn't read that right. I said this all it. Okay, I sort of read it right, I guess. Whatever. Yeah, not much to rejoice about. What do you think? Who could have done that? How should I know? Certainly not me. No, it's not like I expect you or anything. She began waving her hands in a funny manner. Well, thanks for that. I smirked sadly. But that must have been done by a very cruel, very evil person. Well, not necessarily. What? Lena glanced at me in confusion. Maybe it was a one-off delusion. After all, in everyday life, maniacs can be the nicest of people. Did you just say maybe Lena's a suspect? So you're saying that her eyes widened and her jaw dropped a little. That it could have been done by any one of us? By the way, her voice changed too. Fuck it. We're going with it. My microphone might be a bit loud. Okay, well, we'll find out. Sorry if it is. Well, I'm not asserting that, that's for sure, but the circle of suspects is quite large. No, none of the children could do that. No one. Anyway, it's up to the police to deal with it. We spent some more time sitting in silence, and then she pulled out a knife and stabbed me in the throat. I was about to leave when Lena suddenly whispered. The look on her face kind of matches what I just joked at. Or could you? What? An unnatural grin appeared on her face. A devil's grin, so I thought. Could you have murdered Slavia? Of course not. But you two didn't get along very well. Why do you think so? We were getting along just fine. Suddenly it became clear that Lena, most likely, is not talking about me. More precisely, not the me from yesterday. And not the Slavia whose name is Sasha. I was sure about that. No, it wasn't me. Okay, relax. I'm not accusing you without doubt with that face. She gave me a look, and for a second her eyes seemed red to me. Maybe it was just a reflection of the sunset. I'm glad you got everything right. But it was you who said everyone was worth suspecting. I didn't tell you to suspect everyone. It meant that we don't know who the criminal is yet. Oh, I see. Well, I hope I don't become the next victim. Lena said loudly and burst out laughing. Laughing. The way she did it gave me the creeps. Oh, she's so the murderer. That is so her. Okay, it's time to go. She got up and swiftly left the square. I chose not to linger and headed to Olga's cabin. She's definitely the murderer. It was now completely dark. Masha was still sleeping, so I decided not to wake her and quietly climbed in next to her. Aww. Our director, or the camp leader as the local residents kept referring to her, was still nowhere to be seen. Or is she the murderer? Oh god. If she enters now, it will all get very uncomfortable. Well, it might, at the very least. Anyway, who cares? A person's been murdered. It's not the time for such trifles. And anyway, we still have to find out what's going on. Why does everyone keep acting like they are pioneers? Don't question it, just go along with it. Seems to me that until it becomes clear who the real criminal is, this whole ridiculous carnival won't stop. The real question was, what is the cause and what is the effect? Either everyone keeps pretending because Slavia was murdered. I still couldn't accept that Sasha was the victim, so I've kept telling myself that it was indeed Slavia, or Slavia was killed because everyone keeps pretending. Damn it, I got lost entirely, and such brainstorming is not going to get me anywhere. The door creaked faintly. Cautiously, I rose on my elbows a bit and peered into the darkness. A few torturous moments passed, but ultimately no one came in. Well, I guess it's no use to just lie down and wait. Right now it's probably just the wind blowing or something like that, but this late at night, when everyone is asleep, wind doesn't sleep! I stood up, grabbed my trousers in the dark, and looked around. It was hardly probable that I might find something that could be used as a means of self-defense here, but I at least had to give it a try. Rummaging through the cabin's contents, I stumbled upon a locked drawer inside the cabinet. Sure, I'd love to find a gun or at least some kind of heavy crowbar there. However, I totally understood that I really shouldn't hold my breath for one. But it had to be locked for a reason. I pushed the cabinet from the wall, estimated where exactly on the back side that drawer was, and gave it a sharp and precise, so I would not wake Masha up, kick with my leg. I'd probably wake up from that. You know, I'm a heavy sleeper. The plywood cracked, and some things spilled forth from the drawer. Underwear. More underwear. Matches. Though, they might just come in handy. I shoved the matchbox into my pocket, and at the same moment I heard some strange noises from outside the door, as if some wild animal was scratching on it. So since when is this a horror game? A horror visual novel? Surely, if that is the real criminal, I won't stand a chance against him. Of course, it has to be male. One shouldn't shrug off the possibility that it was the work of a local pioneer, who may have gone crazy, or who was just insane from the start. Anyway, I should still be able to knock out any of the local residents, even if he came at me with a knife. Thinking about a weapon gave me the creeps. No, I shouldn't be so overconfident. If I get into an encounter with someone who is, for example, armed with a knife, then I must shut the door, barricade all entrances, and wait for help. You probably couldn't get hold of a firearm here. Although... The door creaked once more and opened up about an inch. That sounded more than an inch. I closed my eyes for a second and violently pulled it open, gathering all my strength. I heard a choked scream and saw, God damn it, Elisa, and saw Elisa spread eagle on the doorstep. Oh, it's just you. I heaved a sigh of relief. Don't scare people like that. Want to give me a heart attack? Want me to give me a heart attack? Whatever. She got up, dusted her clothes off slowly, and glanced at me guiltily. I'm sorry. It's fine. It's just it can be dangerous to walk around the camp during the night. What with all the stuff that's happening? I stopped short. Happening implies an ongoing process. As if something was still going to happen. I mean, happened. That's why I came. Lisa was looking at the ground and trembling slightly. It just jitters back and forth. It's trembling. It's already late, but Oleana is still nowhere to be seen. She raised her eyes to me, and I saw tears running down her cheeks. Where could she have gone? It wasn't like I was really concerned, but I asked because I felt that I had to calm the situation. It was perfectly clear that there's absolutely nothing to do in this camp at night. If there's electricity available, then everyone watches movies on their laptops. If not, then they just read books by candlelight. Wandering under the moon shouldn't be on that list. I don't know. Okay, let's think through it without any fuss. I walked over to the table and picked up the clock. Why do you need to pick up the clock to see the time? It's midnight. Sure, everyone should be already at their cabins by this time. A scary thought suddenly flashed through my mind. Where's Olga? Oh, it might be Olga. Let's go outside and talk there. Don't want us to wake up Miku. As we went out, I took a place by the stairs and started to think. Oop. I had to double check if I skipped something. No, okay. So I accidentally hit the enter key twice really fast. Elisa stood beside me, wringing her hands with a pained look on her face as she watched the full moon rise. We have to call the police. We've already called them. But back then, it was only Slavia, and now it's also Oleana. And Olga. Have you seen her? No, but what? Is she too? Lisa burst into tears. We still don't know anything, but nevertheless, it's clear that something's going on here. Even if they're not just pretending to be pioneers and something really has happened to the world, right now, I could have quite a good chance of departing from it without getting any answers for my questions. So I have to focus on survival. Survival. The word hit like a sharp pain to the back of the head. Survival. Just yesterday, I didn't need to give the slightest consideration to anything like that. The quiet summer night was raining over everything around us. Not a breath of wind, not a rustle of grass, or a whisper of moving leaves could be heard. Nothing. Just the reflections of the moonlight in the cabin's windows, sparse clouds up in the sky, and yet impenetrable darkness all around. They say that when you gaze into the abyss also gazes into you. And the grasshoppers. These damn critters are pulling a double shift of DJing. Of DJing? What? As if they're constantly on duty. As the day shift winds up, the night shift, who got enough sleep, begins. Then the night ones knock off, and I have to find some insecticide after all. At least I can wipe out a couple of divisions. With any luck, you're such a murderer. With any luck, that would get me some quiet living space around this cabin. Sure, I can't destroy them all. What the heck? There are probably more of them than there are humans in the entire world. Can you hear it? Elisa sat down and huddled up against me. Her entire body was trembling. What? I strained my ears. It seemed that somebody was slowly walking down the path to our cabin. Couldn't make anything out in the dark, but the steps grew more and more audible with every second. Okay, don't sweat it. He won't dare to attack the two of us. Although I wasn't really sure about that. My hands instinctively started to search for something I could use to defend myself. Throw the bike at them. Hey. Sorry. Soon enough, I found a piece of water pipe underneath the bench. It's not much help, of course. It's way too thick and uncomfortable to wield properly. But it's still better than going out empty-handed. The mere sight of this monstrosity would make anyone pee themselves. Most likely from laughter. There's nothing I can do. We're as good as sitting ducks here, so I'd rather move towards the enemy. I couldn't say that I was bursting with courage and valor. In fact, it was quite the opposite. I was really freaking out. It just seemed that I had no other choice. Oh, I want to know what happens. I took a deep breath and slowly headed into the darkness. Soon enough, I could make out more features of the stranger's silhouette. Not very tall, weird hairstyle, a skirt. Oh, that ought to be Lena. Hey, Saying her hairstyle's weird. I lowered my guard. What are you doing here this late at night? I... Lena's face was stained with tears. She's the murderer. Come on. I led her to Elisa. As Lena was coming back to her senses, she tried to explain what happened. I was just sitting all alone, and it's already quite late, but Miku's still missing. And what happened to Slavia? Miku's still missing. Oh, right, because Miku's supposed to be sleeping with Lena. I still just couldn't reconcile. I still just couldn't reconcile this image of Lena, a sobbing girl sitting in front of me, with the one that I saw at the square a few hours ago, with the grin of the devil and hellish flames in her eyes. Maybe it was just my imagination. Or maybe not. By any chance, do you know where Ulyana and Olga are? She raised her surprised eyes to me. No. Why? Are they also missing? Well, so far we can't be sure. Semyon? At first I didn't realize that she was addressing me. Don't you think it's way too quiet in the camp? No. It's night. Everyone's sleeping, aren't they? I strained my ears. Indeed, there are no sounds beside these damned grasshoppers. I mean, no sounds whatsoever. What's this place usually like? Quiet, whispered Lena. Jesus. Quiet, but not this quiet. I couldn't let the girls fall into panic, although I was starting to freak out myself. Yet there were a lot of reasons to. Humans disappearing into thin air, horrible murders, friends that pretended to be the pioneers until the very end. I was ready to lose it. Okay, let's think rationally. The girls gave me a few questioning looks. People can't just disappear without a trace. That means... Nope, it doesn't mean anything. Suddenly we heard a rustle in the bushes behind the cabin. What the fuck? We just having a camp gathering over here? Before I could even grab my pipe, Router emerged from the darkness. Jesus Christ. Ah, you're here. Or here you are. He didn't... What the shit? Why is he here? He didn't seem to be all that concerned by the stuff happening around. Oh Lord, stop jumping out at people like that. The girls are gonna have a heart attack at this rate. Although I wasn't sure who was more frightened, them or me. Yeah, I apologize. Why have you come? Have you seen oh, son of a bitch. We just found him, didn't we? Have you seen Shirk? We haven't. Looks like half the camp just disappeared in the last few hours. Plus, it's too quiet around here. We noticed that. There's no light anywhere. Dead silence. Oh, don't you start whipping up the tension here. I feel sick already. What am I doing? I'm not doing anything. He flashed a mysterious smile that gave me the creeps. Okay, you stay here. I'm gonna scout around the camp while you're dead. Alone? Yeah, and that probably wasn't exactly the brightest idea. I have to think first, then speak. Ahem. I'll go with you. Okay, then you just stay here, and don't forget that Miku is still sleeping in the cabin. Sir, yes sir. What a dork. If you gave me that Dobie smile in any other situation. About half an hour later, our search brought us to the square. All the cabins were empty. Empty? What? Looks like there were only 5 of us left in the camp. I limped along with that pipe of mine. It appeared to be so lightweight at first, but after carrying it for some time, I've learned that one can get worn out, even carrying a bag of feathers. Where on earth is everyone? Elise appeared to be more or less calm. The horror of the first minutes when we were going from one empty cabin to another had already passed. Well, at least we can be sure that it's not the same case as whatever happened to Slavia. Why is that? Just think, where are the bodies? I said in a whisper, fearful of scaring her. But where is everyone then? Disappeared? Hardly a credible explanation. But if you think about it, nothing whatsoever that's happened during the last 24 hours has been credible. They couldn't just go and just like that. It's not like anything's up to us now, and in any case, tomorrow is still another day. I tried to put on a smile. Let's rejoin the others. Yeah, watch it be like Router. Agreed, Elisa, with a hint of indecisiveness. We'd only taken a few steps when a rustle in the bushes came from behind. Goddamn, not again. I instantly turned around and peered towards the source of the sound. Elisa clung to my hand so hard it hurt, and I tightened my grip on the pipe. Who's there? No idea. Oh, I thought she was saying that out loud. Like, who's there, bitch? Come out. I strained my eyes, but still couldn't make out anything in the darkness. Hey! I had no idea what to do next. The rustling suddenly cut off, and the night returned to just the usual cricket fiddling. Could it be some wild animal? I wondered with a feeling of insecurity. Wild animal? She gripped my hand even tighter. But there are no wild animals around here. Squirrel, for example. I don't know. A squirrel? Do they not exist? Yeah, a squirrel. Well, maybe. Shall we go? Yeah. A minute later, we were approaching Olga's cabin. Rhoda and Lena remained silent and just shuddered slightly when they saw us. So, how is it? No one out there. What do you mean, no one? Everyone's gone, said Elisa through her tears. The girls rushed into each other's arms, and I sat down next to Rhoda. I was like, what was that sound? And finally dropping that abhorrent pipe of mine to the ground. It's just that simple? Just that simple. But how? I really don't know. Maybe it's an alien abduction. What nonsense. Want to play Detective Sherlock? Well, could be some maniac. It's kind of way too much for just one man, don't you think so? I guess you're right, but who was it then? What's up with these pauses? It still could turn out to be just a stupid prank. And Slavia too? That's all just a stupid prank? No, she was definitely murdered by someone. But who? He gave me a narrow gaze. I have no idea. Maybe it was you. I was starting to get wound up. Or you. Not me for sure. How can you prove it? Why on earth should I have to explain myself to you? You're the only one without an alibi. Ah, so you do have an alibi then. I was in my cabin at night. Shirk can prove it. Sure, but Shirk's temporarily unavailable. Murder gritted his teeth and turned away. Anyway, I'm the one with an alibi here. I'm not going to justify myself here. I'm sure about myself. It's great to believe in yourself. I'm also sure about myself, and Mika can prove me right, if I was with her all the time. Not exactly the best witness. Just as good as yours. I have no idea how long we could have argued like that if Lena hadn't intervened in the conversation. Boys, come on, that's enough. You're right, sorry. Yeah. Indeed, now is not the best time for something like this. Anyway, we should stick together. Would it help keep us from disappearing? Asked Elisa, timidly. I'm not sure about all that disappearance stuff, but at least it should help us stay alive. I glanced at my watch. It's almost 4 o'clock. Sun will be rising soon. Okay, squad, time to hey, or we're gonna end up totally wiped out. But no buts. Nobody else tried to object, and we entered the cabin quietly. What's happening? Seems like we woke up Masha. It's okay, keep sleeping. But she was already sitting up on the bed and staring blankly at our little party. Well, you see, they're all gone. Disappeared. Everyone's gone. Lena burst into tears and flung her arms around Masha's neck. What? What's going on? Can you speak clearly? Well, long story short, I cracked my neck and compulsively reached for the cigarettes in my pocket. Finding none, I heaved a sigh of frustration and said, "Looks like there's just 5 of us left in this camp." Meaning everyone in this room. Rejoice! Captain Obvious has returned. You're gonna keep watch first. Eh? Oh, nothing. Do you really think that it's safe for everyone to sleep at the same time? Well, it isn't, but... Exactly. I handed him the pipe and slowly approached the bed, where Lena was sobbing in Masha's arms. Well, if you don't mind... I slipped my boots off, climbed over the girls... just climbed over the girls, like, get out of the way, bitch. And turned towards the wall. But how? Anyhow, sleep. I was so exhausted, both physically and, more importantly, emotionally, that I was unable to do anything, think anything, communicate with anybody. I was desperate to get some sleep. Way too desperate. Masha's whispers, Lena's sobs, Elisa's voice, all that has somehow melted into one quiet lullaby, and so I fell asleep. I was forcibly awakened by someone doing their best to shake me. Physically shake me, that is. Rhoda was leaning over me and nudging my shoulder. Huh? It's our turn now. How long have I slept? About an hour. Only an hour? Stay on your watch. I'm already dozing off. Yeah, an infinite power source wouldn't hurt for our router. Although, it wouldn't hurt for me too. Oh, fine. I rose with considerable effort, climbed over Lena and Masha, who slept with their arms around each other, and jumped down to the floor. The room seemed slightly brighter. Morning's coming. Yeah, now who's Captain Obvious? Rhoda tried to get to my place, but I grabbed him by the collar, threw him down on the floor, and gave him a blanket and a pillow. I mean, there's another bed. So you can, and you cannot. Come to think about it, why can't he? Anyways, it's not that important now. There's another bed, you dick. I mean, if somehow three people were on this one, I'm sure you could take that one. I took the chair, dragged it to the door, sat down, and started to wait. Anticipation seemed to be the best word to describe what I was feeling. Any moment now, the door will burst open, and a maniac will break into the room, or at least the last residents of this camp will disappear. Or I will disappear. In any case, something will happen. I deeply felt that. Rhoda was snoring his head off. The girls were sleeping securely, and I was starting to doze off too. I clenched the pipe harder. The feeling of the cold metal against my bare skin somehow brought me back to my senses. I must not sleep. I'm their only hope now. And my own too. But it's so hard to resist. Just a couple of minutes. My eyes seemed to have a life of their own, opening and closing spontaneously as my mind wandered. A rustling came from behind the door. No, I must have imagined that. It's just those damned grasshoppers. What are they still up to? Maybe it's the grasshoppers to blame. They fell upon the camp like a swarm of locusts and devoured everybody. A vision of me being devoured by grasshoppers unfolded in my mind. A disgusting storm was brewing in my head. Aren't they crickets, not grasshoppers? That make the noises, at least. I don't know. I should actually Google that, if grasshoppers make noises. Not in my experience, at least, but that was only like one grasshopper. Their long legs, their wings, a huge head and the eyes, filled with darkness. Eyes reflecting the abyss. Just look a grasshopper in the eye and you'll never be the same again. That's how it happens. I'm running away, and they are after me. There are thousands of them. Millions. I'm desperately jumping over the pits and gullies, climbing hills and rocks. They don't care. They've got wings. Yeah, these filthy wings that make that nasty rattle. Probably they wouldn't need their teeth anyway. They just have to flap those horrible wings faster and faster, summoning the sonic wave of the apocalypse. No. I just can't block out this hellish noise anymore. I'm falling, desperately trying to cover my ears with my hands. Please, stop it. Somebody. I was woken by a sharp pain in the back of my head. Opening my eyes, I realized that I was lying, sprawled on the floor. Looks that I fell asleep and slipped off my chair. It was 9 o'clock. God damn it, it looks like I've been sleeping for 5 hours straight. Good for you. Anything could have happened. Horrified, I patted myself down, and everything seemed to be in its place. Huh, that was close. I shook our squad awake. I was about to say, what about the other people? My turn already? You sleep too much. Well, I've been sitting here all night long. Sure, that was a lie, but telling them that I spent the night running for my life from grasshoppers definitely wasn't an option. I'm sorry. Ritter hung his head. Don't worry about it. Oh, I'm hungry as hell. Masha stretched out and gave me a cute smile. And why are you all here? What? Don't you remember anything? No, what's the matter? Everyone's gone. said Elisa gloomily. I forgot about Elisa. Said what? Sorry. Everyone's gone. Vanished into thin air. It looks like we're out of time for today. We're gonna have to end this here. Hopefully it doesn't like corrupt the file when I try to save. I'm probably just gonna record the next episode right now because I've still got time. So thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.